Ladies and gentlemen, let me start by telling you something most people are too afraid to say out loud. Never trust any woman who reveals her true nature through the way she loves intimacy. Because the positions she craves aren't just about pleasure, they are blueprints of her soul. They expose whether she seeks connection or control, whether she desires love or chaos. And if you ignore those signs, you won't just lose your heart, you'll lose your peace, your future, and maybe even yourself. When I stand before you today, I want you to understand that trust is the foundation of every connection we build in life. Trust is what determines whether the bond will last or whether it will crumble under the weight of lies and betrayal. And when we talk about relationships, trust becomes even more delicate, even more fragile. You see, relationships are not just about companionship, laughter, or intimacy. They are about how much of yourself you are willing to give and how much you can rely on another person to honor that gift. And yet, I have seen so many people destroy themselves simply because they placed trust in the wrong hands and they ignored the red flags that were right in front of them. It is not a joke when I say that the way someone approaches intimacy can reveal who they truly are. It may seem small, insignificant, or even silly to some, but those choices in the bedroom carry powerful clues about character, values, and intentions. We live in a world where many are quick to dismiss the signs, quick to brush off intuition, quick to silence that inner voice that warns us when something is off. And that is why so many end up in relationships that leave them empty, broken, and disillusioned. When a woman clings to certain desires, when she idolizes positions that scream control, dominance, or manipulation, you must pause and ask yourself, what is she truly after? Because intimacy is not only about pleasure, it is about what someone reveals about their soul in their most vulnerable moments. If you ignore those truths, if you laugh them off as nothing more than personal taste, then you risk walking straight into a trap that you will not escape unscarred. I have watched men give everything, love, loyalty, devotion, only to discover that the woman they trusted was never truly theirs. She was intoxicated with the thrill of power, consumed by the hunger of conquest, and unable to respect the sacredness of love. And you know how they could have seen it, by noticing the pattern she celebrated when it came to sex. Noticing that she loved the things that were less about connection and more about domination, less about union and more about ego. But because they dismissed it, they fell headfirst into betrayal. There are women who love intimacy not as a bond, but as a weapon. They use it to manipulate, to trap, to weaken. Their favorite positions are not chosen by chance. They reveal their mindset. And when you see a woman obsessed with certain kinds of control in the bedroom, it is a sign that she is not there for you, not there to love you, not there to grow with you, but there to feed herself, her ego, her games. That is not love. That is not trust. That is a danger you cannot afford to ignore. I speak about this because too many men silence themselves when they sense something is off. They tell themselves, it's just sex, it's not a big deal. But it is. It is a reflection of values. It is a reflection of whether she honors intimacy or exploits it. It is a reflection of whether she views you as a partner or as a tool for her pleasure and control. And if you think those things are harmless, let me tell you, they are not. What begins in the bedroom will leak into every other part of your relationship. If she seeks to dominate you there, she will dominate you in your daily life. If she is selfish there, she'll be selfish in your future. If she cannot honor the vulnerability of sex, she cannot honor the vulnerability of your heart. I have seen strong men crumble. Men who believed they could handle it. Men who believed they could change her. Men who thought that love would be enough to overcome what was already written in her nature. But every time it ended the same way: betrayal, loss, regret. Why? Because they trusted women who showed them through their desires. That trust was never theirs to give. There are 3 kinds of intimacy that should immediately make you pause when a woman glorifies them. I will not dress it up with fancy words. I will not make it soft. I will speak plainly, because it matters. The woman who constantly wants to be on top, not just occasionally, but as her favorite, is telling you something about control. She does not want to share with you. She wants to dominate you. She wants to dictate the rhythm, the power, the pace. She is not seeking union. She is seeking authority. Do not dismiss that. Then there is the one who thrives on positions that strip away eye contact and closeness, like the ones that turn intimacy into something animalistic rather than connected. When she prefers that, when that is her obsession, She is telling you she does not want to face you. She does not want to connect with your soul. She wants the experience without the intimacy, the pleasure without the vulnerability. And you must ask yourself, how can someone love you deeply if they cannot even look you in the eyes in your most vulnerable moments? And finally, there are the positions designed to make her feel overpowered, consumed by reckless abandon. While this may sound harmless, when obsession takes over, it reveals a woman who craves chaos, not stability. She loves the drama, the intensity, the lack of boundaries. And if she is chasing that in the bedroom, she will chase it outside the bedroom. She will chase drama in her life, in her relationships, in your future. And you will find yourself caught in storms that never end. You may think these things are small, that they are nothing more than personal preference. But I tell you today, they are not. They are reflections of the heart. They are signals of who she is at her core. And if you ignore them, if you tell yourself that you are overthinking, then you are paving the road for heartbreak with your own hands. Trust is not something to be handed out like candy. Trust is earned, trust is proven, trust is sacred. And the moment you ignore the truth hidden in her desires, you are betraying yourself. You are choosing blindness over clarity. You are choosing pain over wisdom. And when the storm comes, you will have no one to blame but yourself. So I say this with fire in my voice and conviction in my heart. Never trust any woman who loves these three positions with obsession, because it is not about the act. It is about what it reveals. It is about what it tells you before the heartbreak ever arrives. It is about protecting yourself before the damage is done. And if you value your heart, if you value your life, you will listen. Because the truth is, love is not a playground where you gamble your soul for fleeting thrills. Love is not about surrendering yourself to someone who already shows you through their behavior that they cannot be trusted with your heart. When someone's desires reveal a hunger for control, for distance, for chaos, you cannot ignore it and expect that love alone will wash it away. Love is powerful, but love without wisdom becomes weakness. And wisdom is found in paying attention, in recognizing what people show you when they think you're not looking, when they think their actions are small and meaningless. You must understand that character is not hidden in grand speeches or elaborate promises. Character is revealed in small, repeated choices. Just like a person who cannot be trusted with a secret cannot be trusted with loyalty, a woman whose desires consistently reflect selfishness, dominance, or detachment cannot be trusted with something as sacred as your heart. People often reveal themselves in their most vulnerable states, and sex happens to be one of those states. When she shows you she is obsessed with control or intoxicated by drama, that is who she truly is beneath the masks. Do not fall into the illusion that you can save her from herself. Too many men believe that their love, their patience, their sacrifice will transform someone who is already addicted to power or chaos. But the reality is, she will not change for you unless she first wants to change for herself. And if her deepest desires are already rooted in manipulation, in disconnection, in self-indulgence, then you will drown trying to rescue someone who does not even want to be rescued. Your energy will be drained, your confidence will be shattered, and your life will be consumed by someone who only takes but never gives. And here is the greatest tragedy: many men already sense it. They feel the discomfort in their spirit, the uneasiness in their hearts. They notice how she avoids connection, how she demands control, how she thrives on intensity without responsibility. Yet they silence that voice inside because they are afraid of being alone, afraid of walking away, afraid of starting over. But let me tell you, loneliness with peace is far better than companionship with destruction. Being alone and in control of your life is far better than being tied to a partner who will drag you into a cycle of heartbreak, betrayal, and regret. Some of you listening may think, but isn't sex just a part of life? Isn't it unfair to judge someone based on their preferences? And I hear you. But remember, we are not talking about judgment. We are talking about patterns. We are talking about what those patterns reveal about the values that guide her. When someone consistently chooses intimacy that strips away connection, what does that say about her view of relationships? When someone seeks dominance every time, what does that say about her respect for balance? When someone clings to chaos, what does that say about her hunger for stability? These are not random acts. They are reflections of a deeper truth. I want you to reflect on this. Real love is built on unity, on mutual respect, on the willingness to see and honor each other. Real intimacy comes with vulnerability, with eye contact, with the courage to be fully present. When someone avoids those things, when someone makes intimacy about ego instead of connection, they are telling you they are not ready for true love. And if they are not ready for true love, they cannot be trusted with yours. There is a strength in walking away. There is power in choosing yourself. The moment you decide that your heart is too valuable to be toyed with, the moment you set boundaries and refuse to ignore red flags, you rise into a version of yourself that cannot be broken by betrayal. Because betrayal only destroys those who hand over their trust blindly. But when you see clearly, when you acknowledge the signs, you protect yourself before the destruction even begins. And don't confuse passion with love. Passion is intense. It is fiery. It can make you feel like you're on top of the world. But passion without respect, without connection, without sincerity, will burn you alive. Too many men confuse intensity in the bedroom with true affection. They think the fire is proof of love, when in reality, it is often just a mask for selfishness, a cover for the absence of genuine commitment. Do not let lust disguise itself as love. The truth is simple. A woman who cannot respect the intimacy of sex will not respect the intimacy of your soul. If she cannot meet you equally in the most vulnerable space, she will not meet you equally in the journey of life. And if she seeks to dominate or detach there, she will do the same everywhere else. Your future, your peace, your purpose, they are too valuable to risk on someone who has already shown you that trust is not part of her vocabulary. So many men live with regret because they ignored these truths. They stayed in relationships where they were drained, belittled, and betrayed, only to look back and realize the warnings were always there. They were present in her choices, in her desires, in her patterns. But because they wanted to believe in love, they ignored what love truly requires: clarity, wisdom, and self-respect. If you take anything from this, let it be this: your trust is sacred, your love is a gift, and not every woman deserves it. You must stop giving it to those who have already revealed, in their most vulnerable moments, that they cannot be trusted with it. Listen to the signs, honor your intuition, protect your soul, because once you lose yourself in the wrong hands, it is far harder to rebuild than it is to walk away before the damage is done. And this is where discipline becomes your greatest weapon. Discipline is not only about controlling your actions in the world, it is about controlling your heart, your trust, and your choices. When you look into the eyes of someone who excites you, who makes your body crave, who ignites your desires, you must still pause and ask yourself if your spirit feels safe with her. Because passion will blind you, and blindness will cost you more than you are ready to lose. Discipline is the power to step back when everything in you wants to dive forward. It is the courage to wait for what is real instead of surrendering to what is fake. Every man who has ever fallen into regret with the wrong woman once believed he was strong enough to handle it. They told themselves, I can manage this. I can shape this. I can teach her love. But love is not a classroom where you hand out lessons to someone unwilling to learn. Love is not about carrying the weight for two when the other has no intention of carrying it at all. You cannot fix a person who is determined to stay broken. You cannot build a home with someone who finds joy in setting fires. And yet, too many men hand over years of their lives because they confuse hope with reality. Hope has its place, but hope without truth is poison. Hope convinces you to ignore the warning signs, to downplay the inconsistencies, to silence your intuition. But truth is louder than hope if you are willing to listen. Truth is revealed when she chooses distance over closeness, when she demands control instead of partnership, when she thrives on chaos instead of peace. Truth is not hidden. It is right there in her behavior. The problem is not that the truth is hard to see. The problem is that you convince yourself not to see it. And why? Because loneliness is uncomfortable. Because the thought of starting over feels exhausting. Because deep down you crave love so badly you are willing to accept its counterfeit. But let me tell you something that will set you free. Peace is more valuable than companionship. A quiet room with no drama, no manipulation, no games is far better than a crowded bed filled with betrayal. Your life does not gain meaning by attaching it to someone who only knows how to take from you. Your life gains meaning when you protect your dignity, when you walk with strength, when you say, I will not give my trust to those who cannot honor it. I know how tempting it is to believe that you can be the exception, that you can be the man who finally makes her change, that you can be the one who inspires her to leave behind selfishness and chaos. But here is the harsh reality. If she wanted to change, she already would have. And if her desires reveal what she truly values, no amount of your love will rewrite those values. You will exhaust yourself pouring out your energy while she will continue to choose herself over you. You will give her loyalty while she will give you excuses. You will give her patience while she will give you betrayal. That is not a partnership. That is a slow destruction disguised as love. Your future is too important to gamble on someone who plays games with intimacy. The dreams you carry inside you, the goals you hope to reach, the peace you long to live in. These things deserve a partner who will protect them with you, not tear them down from within. Because when you trust the wrong woman, it is not only your heart at risk, it is your focus, your energy, your ambition. Betrayal does not only wound the heart, it distracts the mind, it weakens the spirit. It makes you question yourself. And if you are not careful, it can steal years of your life that you will never get back. I want you to remember that intimacy is not only physical, it is spiritual, it is emotional, it is a binding of souls. And when you bind yourself to the wrong soul, you carry the weight of her choices whether you realize it or not. If she lives in chaos, you inherit chaos. If she thrives on manipulation, you inherit manipulation. If she is consumed by ego, you will feel the drain of her ego every single day. The people you connect with will either elevate you or break you, and sex is one of the strongest forms of connection. That is why you cannot ignore what it reveals. So many men ignore their inner voice until it is too late. They think they are imagining things, that they are being unfair, that they are judging too harshly. But the inner voice is rarely wrong. That discomfort you feel when you notice the way she treats intimacy is not paranoia. It is guidance. It is the warning built inside you to protect your soul. If you ignore it, you will suffer. But if you listen, you will save yourself from years of pain that others have already endured. You must decide what you value more, short-term pleasure or long-term peace, because the woman who chases control, disconnection, and chaos may give you temporary excitement, but she will never give you lasting love. And when the excitement fades, when the chaos grows, when the betrayal comes, you will be left wondering why you didn't walk away when you had the chance. Your future is not worth sacrificing for a thrill that leaves you empty. Your trust is not worth handing to someone who has already shown you she cannot hold it. Stand firm in who you are. Stand firm in what you deserve. And never forget that the signs are always there. You just have to be brave enough to see them and disciplined enough to act on them. And if you truly want to protect yourself, you must learn to separate attraction from alignment. Attraction can pull you towards someone in an instant, but alignment determines whether you can walk with that person for a lifetime. Too many men confuse chemistry for compatibility, mistaking sparks for stability. Sparks burn bright, but they fade quickly. Alignment, however, endures. It is the steady fire that warms you year after year, not the quick blaze that scorches you and leaves nothing but ashes. And when you allow attraction to blind you, when you ignore the lack of alignment revealed in her desires and behavior, you set yourself up for heartbreak you could have avoided. It is not weakness to walk away. It is wisdom. Weakness is staying in the arms of someone who clearly shows you they cannot honor your trust, all because you are afraid to let go. Strength is in recognizing that your future matters more than your temporary cravings. It is in choosing a partner who sees you as a man to respect, not as a toy to control or a resource to exploit. You cannot build a legacy with someone who thrives on taking from you. You cannot build a future with someone who has no respect for the foundation of trust. And you certainly cannot find peace in the arms of a person who worships chaos. I know some of you may say, but people can change. What if she learns? What if she grows? Yes, people can change, but only when they want to. And here lies the truth. You cannot want it for her more than she wants it for herself. A man who sacrifices years trying to mold a woman into someone she has no intention of becoming will end up empty, bitter, and broken. Change cannot be forced. Growth cannot be demanded. If she is showing you now that her values are rooted in dominance, disconnection, or recklessness, then that is the woman you are dealing with. Do not build a fantasy in your mind of who she could be. Face the reality of who she is. Too many men lose themselves because they fight battles that were never theirs to win. They pour into women who drain them. They invest in relationships that were doomed from the start, and they end up wondering why their lives feel stuck. But the answer is simple. When you trust the wrong person, you tie your future to the wrong destiny. And no matter how much effort you put in, the wrong foundation will always collapse. The signs are there to warn you, to save you, to keep you from wasting your time. Ignoring them is choosing destruction over wisdom. Understand this: intimacy is not a game. It is not a casual exchange without meaning. It is the closest mirror to the soul that you will ever see. When she reveals her patterns there, she is revealing the blueprint of her heart. If you see selfishness there, it will not disappear. If you see control there, it will not vanish. If you see detachment there, it will not magically transform into closeness. These traits will echo into every part of the relationship: how she loves, how she fights, how she communicates, how she commits. And if you dismiss them now, they will rise up later, bigger and louder than before. This is why discernment is your greatest ally. Discernment is the ability to see beyond the surface, beyond the thrill, beyond the temptation. It is the power to recognize truth even when it is inconvenient, even when it challenges your desires. Because sometimes the hardest thing to do is the right thing. Sometimes walking away hurts in the moment, but it saves you a lifetime of regret. Sometimes choosing peace feels lonely in the beginning, but it positions you for the partner who will truly value you. And if you refuse to practice discernment, you will keep falling into the same traps, repeating the same pain, living the same story over and over again. I need you to understand how high the stakes are. Trusting the wrong woman doesn't just break your heart, it reshapes your identity. It can rob you of your confidence, leaving you questioning your worth. It can drain your energy, leaving you too tired to chase your dreams. It can cloud your judgment, leaving you unable to recognize true love when it finally appears. That is why you cannot afford to ignore what her desires reveal. This is not about judging her. This is about protecting yourself. This is not about condemning her. This is about honoring your value. When a woman shows you through her intimacy that she seeks control, chaos, or distance, she is warning you. I am not ready for true love. I am not ready to honor your heart. I am not ready to walk with you in trust. And your responsibility is not to argue with that truth, not to deny it, not to fight against it. Your responsibility is to believe it, to take it seriously, to let it guide your choices, because ignoring it will only lead you into the very pain you are trying to avoid. You must rise above the illusion that your strength lies in enduring what breaks you. Real strength is not found in how much pain you can tolerate. It is found in how much wisdom you apply. Real strength is not suffering quietly in the wrong relationship. It is walking boldly into freedom, knowing you deserve better. The world may glorify tolerance, but true power is in discernment. True power is in setting boundaries. True power is in saying, my trust is not cheap. My love is not for play, and my heart is not a game. And let me remind you, there will always be temptation to settle. There will always be someone who excites you but cannot respect you. There will always be someone who thrills your body but cannot honor your soul. And if you allow yourself to be ruled by desire alone, you will continue to fall into traps that steal your peace. But when you master yourself, when you choose alignment over attraction, peace over chaos, truth over illusion, you will find that you no longer fear walking away, because you will know that protecting your heart is far more valuable than pleasing your cravings.